Hey guys, welcome back. Koyzumie here, bringing you episode 8 of the ProSumer Report, the show where we give you the breakdowns on the best of the best in consumer goods. Today we're taking a look at the Benchmade 484 Nakamura. The Nakamura is a blue class knife, meaning it is meant to be carried with the user every day. The knife's small footprint helps in this regard. It's only 4 inches closed, 7 inches open, and weighs just 3.5 ounces. However, the knife is currently $225, so is it worth it? The handle of the Nakamura is made from laminated G10 surrounding stainless steel liners. G10 is a very strong, light carbon-based material with properties similar to carbon fiber, but thankfully costing much less. One problem with G10 is it is naturally quite slippery due to the resin used in its manufacturing. To mitigate this problem, manufacturers using the material often texture it to add more grip. However, the Nakamura's G10 is polished smooth, offering very limited traction. The handle has been shaped with finger grooves to add grip, which resolves this to a certain extent. Not the best grip we've seen, but certainly not the worst. One major caveat we have with this handle is that the liners are not milled out. For a knife meant to be carried with you every day, lighter is better, right? So why not save some weight and skeletonize the liners like on competing knives? As with most recent Benchmades, the Nakamura uses the patented axis lock, a good way for securing a knife from accidental blade closures. And as with all axis-enabled knives, the lock functions by moving a small pin up from behind the back of the blade to secure it in place. Pulling the pin down allows the blade to swing closed, and as far as implementation goes, the axis lock on the Nakamura is actually below average. It operates smoothly and can be used in either hand. Unfortunately, these handle scales are way too thick and actually get in the way of operating the lock. For comparison, here's a mini griptilian. See how pronounced the pin is? Way easier to get a grip on and operate. Deployment of the knife fares a bit better. The axis lock can be disengaged to allow the blade to be flicked open and closed, and the custom machined thumb stud functions well for deploying the knife using either thumb or forefinger, though we have had some problems with the stud getting caught in the corner of our pockets. This seems to happen most often with jeans, and while it doesn't happen every time, having it happen at all is concerning, as eventually someone is going to run their finger right into an open blade. And since the knife is supposed to be with you every day, it's just an accident waiting to happen, and it's not something we have experienced with other Benchmades, so it's definitely an area for concern if you're planning to buy this knife. Now onto the blade. This is the real highlight of the knife, and for good reason. It's a very useful length, 3.1 inches, and its drop point design is a perfect hybrid of performance and elegance. Not to mention the exotic M390 Super Steel is a rather exciting feature. M390, also known as Microclean, is made by Boer and Udelholm, and while it hasn't been out in the wild for too long, it promises excellent corrosion resistance, very high edge retention, and class-leading sharpness. Plus, it's one of the few metals that can actually be polished to a true mirror shine. Cheap? Not at all. But neither is the Nakamura, so it helps to make you feel like your money's going to good use. However, for the most part, we advise against buying exotic new super steels, as more often than not, they don't really make much of a difference, and they inevitably come down in price over time, which can hurt your knife's value in the long run. Another small caveat we have with this blade is that due to its thumb stud, you cannot use its whole length, as whatever you're cutting has a tendency to get stuck on the stud. Service with Benchmade has been a bit of a mixed bag for us. In the past, we've had a lot of difficulty communicating with them. However, they have really impressed us as well, going to such lengths as leaving comments on our videos offering to help us resolve a problem. To this we say that for the most part, Benchmade has good service, and if you don't get it the first time, try again. As with any large company, not every employee is going to be perfect, but from what we can tell, they try their best to make things right when given the opportunity. Now let's take a look at the knife's competition. Obvious industry mainstays such as the Kershaw Leak and Delica 4 from Spyderco come to mind, but the Nakamura actually has competition within its own company, the mini griptilian. So how does it compare? Well, the Nakamura is nearly 6 times more expensive than the Leak, and while we love the Leak, it's not really realistic to compare it to the Nakamura. Though we will say that carrying the Leak for a while now, we've rarely needed more from a blade. As for the Delica, you can actually use its entire blade length, and its lightweight FRN handle with skeletonized liners really helps keep the weight down. Though on paper its VG10 steel is inferior to the M390 on the Nakamura, and the backlock of the Delica is not quite as convenient to operate as an axis lock. Still, backlocks are revered for their strength and durability. Conversely, if you're absolutely set on having an axis lock, then you need not look any further than Benchmade's own mini griptilian. At literally half the cost of the Nakamura, it features a near identical blade length, handle length, thickness, but offers superior grip. A more usable and pronounced axis lock, the same warranty and service. It can be ordered with a massive variety of blade shapes, handle colors, and steel types using Benchmade's knife customizer service, and it can even be ordered with a Spidey hole. So should you fork over for the Nakamura? Well, unless you're totally in love with its look, or are desperate to try some M390, we say no. There are just way too many knives that cost less and do more, not to mention the fact that the blade may just inadvertently cut your finger open. With mediocre grip, a below average axis lock, unmilled handle liners, and a $200 price tag, there's just too little to like about the Nakamura. Anyone thinking about purchasing it will most likely be better served by a mini grip, and while we appreciate the high quality materials of the Nakamura, the implementation here is just too weak. 4.8 out of 10. Not a recommended buy. This has been the Prosumer Report with Koyzumie. I'll see you next time. How about that shipping cost? Well, here it is. Fortress to escape Wingle. Okay, obviously things are still improving with each game, as this does not equal this. But hey, if you wanted to know who did it first, it was Zelda of Link, A Path to the Legend.